From Studio A at 1 Biloxi Square in Fort Worth, Texas, this is the Grandpa and Pappy Show. Yes, indeed it is. It is another day, and we owe the government more money every single day. How's it going, everybody? So glad you could join us for the Grandpa and Pappy Show. And we were made aware right before we started taping today's show that today is National Podcast Day.
God.
So we are very happy about that, being the podcast nation, and we're very happy that our program is one of the only ones where your opinion can actually be heard and read as it is on subjects of the day. So we're real happy with that.
That's because we're listening.
We always listen.
Always.
We certainly do. We hope you've had a great week so far.
Yeah.
And we thank you again for joining us today. We got a good show for you today.
Yeah. I was just kind of skeezying down through here. It's pretty interesting.
There's a couple of questions that we had to ask that a lot of people have been asking about and talking about, especially with senior citizens, and all of the subsidies that illegals are getting once they cross into our state and our country illegally. They're getting a lot of subsidies, and our poor senior citizens don't get anything.
That's a fact.
Or our homeless vets, so that that brought on a question that a lot of you had some great answers to.
One of those things that make you go, what the hell?
Yeah. And of course, if you're aware, the generals have been testifying on Capitol Hill in front of the congressional members committee about their, should we say, their actions taken in Afghanistan. And a lot of the lies that have been brought to light as concerning bringing out the troops and bringing out folks that should have been brought out.
Right. Well, I think it's about time. The binding's getting so tight, everybody's starting to cover their ass.
Yeah, that's true. So
typical political rhetoric crap.
Yeah, and they've gone back on some of the things they've said, and the president has been caught with his hand in the cookie jar, so to speak, shall we say, telling a few whoppers.
Yeah.
And it's come to light now. The American people, his poll numbers are just plummeting. So it's one of those things. It's going to be a continuous thing going on in Washington, D.C. for a while.
Keep your powder dry, folks.
But let's talk about today's show, and we are excited about it. We asked a question to you or made a statement, and you had some great opinions and answers. Subsidizing illegals and not our senior citizens.
Yep.
Which is something that if you stop and think about, senior citizens worked hard all of their life in helping build this country to what it was. And now that they have retired, I personally know a couple of folks that are trying to get by on $600 a month. I don't know how. When you have to pay for groceries, or
rent.
Rent?
Just groceries and a utility bill would be enough to eat that up.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
But let's see what you guys had to say about subsidizing the illegals and not our senior citizens. Right. Marsha Graves said, that's a great question. It seems all you hear about is the proposed $3.5 trillion bill is subsidies for illegals like housing, food, and free education. That is very true. There is no mention about repaying the millions of dollars taken from the Social Security Fund over the years by the politicians. And they have.
And that's something that's hitting pretty close to us.
Yes.
We're both retired.
Absolutely.
I've yet to file for my Social Security, and I'm beginning to think, why even bother if it's going to be gone? But you gotta have that little dribble of money coming in. Charlie George asked, or to house illegals when they're homeless veterans?
Bingo.
Yeah. Sabrina Monk Draving said, great question. And Alan Gray said the politicians should try to live on what our seniors are having to live on. Trust me, their attitudes would change in a moment's notice.
Isn't that the truth? Stop to think about that.
Yeah.
Think about all those benefits the politicians get. They only have to run and serve one term,
Right.
and they get a lifetime pension.
Yeah. Out of our pockets.
Out of our pockets. Yeah.
So
And they don't pay into Social Security. They have their own retirement.
it's crazy.
It's nuts.
Not to mention all the money they pilfered while they were in office.
Oh,
or said
absolutely.
office.
Absolutely. And you stop and think about it. We're the ones doing all the paying in. They're not paying in, but they're enjoying all the benefits
Yep.
of that. So you tell me what's fair and what's not.
True.
Tamara Branham Wade said, I've said this for years. It infuriates me that our seniors who worked their whole lives and veterans who fought for our freedom have to live below poverty, and we bring all of these people in to just walk all over them. Don't get me started on this one. I'll bet not. Because, Tamara, we're right there with you. We'll get a little upset ourselves.
It's not like anybody up on the hill is going to listen to you anyway, dear. So
It seems like it is.
and that's a crying shame.
It really is.
Cindy Gale Roberts Thomas told us that this is a very good question. Marshall Williams said one is the future of the Democratic Party and the other is the past. Roger Green said all these illegals being allowed into our country will spell our doom. I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
People come here to America to live in her splendor only to revert back to ways that destroyed their countries.
And that's the truth. We're seeing that.
Yeah, and I don't understand.
I mean,
I don't
here's
understand that.
people die to come to this country
Yeah.
to
literally.
enjoy its freedoms and its opportunities to succeed.
That's true.
Once they get here, they revert back to their old ways like they were in their country.
Well, they come over here and stomp on our flag and wipe their feet on it, burn it, and all that crap.
Forget that. Let me put them in my sides. If you know what I mean.
I do.
All right. Let's see. Richard Wise Jr. said they just don't care. They are left and forgotten about. A lot of stuff isn't right at all, like high-priced medicines for seniors and those who really need it the most. Our veterans are forgotten and mistreated also. Hell, they have forgotten the ways of America, the way it should be run and taken care of.
That's a shame. You know,
And he's true.
I'm just wondering how much of this is going on, like even when we were children, and beyond that, or
Yeah, that's
up
a
to
really
that
good
point.
question. I couldn't
It
answer
just
that.
wasn't discussed.
No, it
Because
wasn't.
nobody had to worry or fears about it. back
Well,
then.
the media wasn't like it is today, and social media especially.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
but used to, if you had a question, you had to go to the library and look it up in the encyclopedia. Now you just Google it.
What encyclopedia? Jimmy Grant says, I challenge all of those politicians in Washington, D.C. to try and live on $800 a month like my mom does. And you hit on that earlier. Hell, there's no way that she can get groceries to eat, but medicine for her health and have a place to live with that amount of money. These are people who helped build our country, and no, they're being cast aside. It's pathetic. And it is. It really is, Jimmy.
I agree with you, and God bless you for helping your mom.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of the senior citizens that are having to move in with their children just to stay alive, Pappy. It's a sad,
That's a
sad
shame.
situation.
It is. It really is.
Jerry Williamson said it is the politics. Dems hope to reshape America so they can remain in power with no regard for a generation that only has a few decades left to vote. James Roberts agreed with Jerry, saying, now that's putting the eggs back in the hen house. That is so true. I haven't heard that expression. I mean, I bet you in 50 years. I bet you
Kind of
50
goes hand
years.
in hand when there's a fox in the hen house.
Yeah. Taking out the eggs.
That's right. Eating eggs. That is true. Good point, Jerry. Robert D. Shirley told us the true leaders of the countries don't care about us. It's all about lining their pockets, which most of them did get them lined, and that is how they got to the position that they're in. It's disgraceful.
Yeah,
And
it
it
really is. And then Robert came back to ask, was Trump the greatest president? He did more for this country since Ronald Reagan, and was all destroyed because of pocket-lined politicians, and most of them were idiots.
Ain't it so?
Tell it like it is, Robert.
Paying them off to keep the truth suppressed. Tommy Parker had a different view and says it's because old people vote Republican. Anthony Davis saw this statement and told us on YouTube that Tommy is delusional. Are you saying that only senior citizens vote Republican, or are you saying because they do? The Dems punish them for it? Depending on your context, if the proven fraud had not taken place in 2020, Trump, a Republican, would still be our president.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
And I mean, first time I voted in years, I voted Republican.
Yeah.
So,
it came out, the big news outlet over in London came out with an editorial and said Trump was right. There was lots of fraud in the election.
That's right.
Now, for our allies to come out and say that, that's really saying something.
Yeah.
It really is.
It's a shame is what it is.
Melanie Renee Sisk says, amen all the way. They make our veterans, disabled, and seniors starve and have to live with others or live in their cars to survive. It's a very sad deal, and one that needs very serious attention. Mm-hmm. They need to raise their monthly increments, period.
Yep.
It sickens my stomach, and it's selfish how they are treated in my book.
It's a fact.
That's true.
That's a fact.
Good.
What
Lord
you
of
got,
mercy.
K-Bird?
And you know what makes me the maddest of all is when people come on and say it's an entitlement. Like hell it is.
Yeah.
No,
We've
they
all been
took it
paying-
out of my check.
Yeah, we've all been paying since we were 15 years old into the Social Security system for years and years and years.
Yep.
Some of us
And we
younger
get
than
a
that.
penance back.
I was 13.
I was 13.
Okay,
also.
okay, y'all are older than I am.
Oh, well, you
Just
don't
saying.
have to rub it in.
That's
You know,
right.
it started in
Wiser,
1935
too.
under Franklin D. Roosevelt.
By God.
Just saying.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, it just makes me cringe every time
Yeah.
we give our money to welfare. So Social Security is not an entitlement.
No, it's
That's
not.
fact.
It's
We
I
something
agree.
earned it.
you
We
earned.
paid it. It should have gone into a fund that earned interest like a 401k and never have been touched ever.
Well, what never should have happened is the politicians in Washington dipping into it when they needed money, intending to pay it back, but it's just like a kid. Dad, can I borrow $1,000? I'll pay you back. I mean, what's
So take some of that stimulus money that is still sitting there and pay it into the Social Security.
That's
you
perfect.
go. There you
Replace
go.
the millions that you've taken out,
billions.
or billions. Yeah.
I think you should be president.
Well,
No thanks. I wouldn't have that job.
I don't know.
I wouldn't even have had it back in the good old days. To hell with
I
that.
don't
Just
know. I
have to
might have a
express
little
my
too much whiskey one night and hit the wrong button.
I know I would. I'd light somebody's ass up. And Jim Krause pretty much hit the nail on the head along with K-Bird over here when he told us, and why do they always threaten to cut Social Security because it is an entitlement? Yet they never threaten to shut off welfare or benefits for the thousands surging across the borders illegally every day.
Exactly my point.
Boom.
I didn't read that. I just.
This new $3.5 trillion bill that's being discussed in Congress right now, I don't think it's going to pass.
I don't either.
But part of that is billions to house these people coming across, give them food, and even free education
Yeah.
to colleges.
Healthcare, everything.
And healthcare, yeah. So, what about these struggling Americans? I mean, are you just going to leave them out? Have you looked on the streets of Los Angeles, California? I mean, golly.
Oh, there's places like that right here in our home state of Texas.
Absolutely, there is. Look under Austin's big bridge.
Yep.
They got a bunch of them up there, but I understand they're trying to clean that out.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that works out.
Turn it into a subdivision.
Maybe we could send all them across the border to Mexico.
Yeah. They just come back illegally.
Yeah, they would. And get all the benefits.
That's right.
Yeah. Leslyn Fletcher Pruitt told Jim Krause that their salary is the entitlement. They should take a huge pay cut to fund Social Security and veterans. If not for the old people, they would not be here. And if not for the veterans, they would not have the freedom to ruin our country. Another foreign country would already be in control. Something to think about.
Yeah, it is. Denise Flannery simply stated, or give free medical care to illegals when there are people that are disabled and can't get any help at all. And Crawford Young said it's because seniors and homeless veterans don't build highways. Follow the money trail and you'll get your answer.
I'm not so sure he's right about that.
That's one way of seeing it, I guess.
That's all I got to say about that.
Good.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. Let's see here. Judy Gilley said, that is a good question. It's getting harder and harder for me to make ends meet. David Harvey said the illegals will vote for them, the Dems, and the seniors will not. Thomas Crafts answered David by simply saying, bingo.
Bingo. And my lifelong buddy Joe Mosier down south around Houston town told us that it's because illegal voters mean more to them than the citizens of our country do. They don't give a hoot about you. Leslie Rosenthal said it's because it's under the table things. That's why they're illegal. Senior citizens are law-abiding citizens, and because they may not have many more years left to vote, they got left out in the cold. Alice Harvey said, that's for sure. I'm inclined to agree with that too, being a senior citizen. But
yeah, there are some good opinions on that. There really are.
They always have. They always have.
K-Bird, do we have a break that we need to go to?
Yes, sir.
Okay. When we come back, we're going to talk about the situation at the border from the horses' standpoint and from the standpoint of the Border Patrol. And we'll talk about that and get some of your opinions on it after we pause for this. And the Grandpa and Pappy Show will be back after this.
I know this guy. I've talked to him on the phone. He knows his stuff. I know this guy. I've talked.
I think I need me one of those La Cucaracha horns, man.
That'd be cool, wouldn't it? La Cucaracha.
Get me a food truck.
Unless you've been sleeping under a bridge like a lot of those people from Haiti has been doing, except they're not there anymore. They secretly moved them out during the night, and another 30,000 are coming up from the south of Mexico to do the same thing. So, but anyway, unless you've been sleeping under a rock and you haven't heard, there was a controversy, Pappy, surrounding the Border Patrol agents who were mounted on horses. And all these liberals were saying that all these photographs and videos were showing them slapping these people with whips. Now, I asked the question, or I made the statement, the damn Yankees don't know what riding a horse is.
You don't know, come here from Sikkim.
I grew up on horses, and they're not whips. They're long range. Now, let me give you a little history lesson.
Now, they hurt when you get your butt peppered with them, but
well, they do.
That wasn't the case in what we're talking
about.
Now,
let me give you a little history lesson. In the old days, they had the split reins, and they were longer because on trail drives, the cowboys would twirl them to get the cattle to go in the direction they wanted them to go. Okay, and it's still being used like that today on some of these Texas ranches.
Well, plus it's an accelerating device as well.
Yeah, that's true if needed. But even the guy who took all of the pictures, took all the pictures, said that he never ever saw one of the Border Patrol agents slap anybody with those reins, and there was no whips to be seen anywhere.
I'm sure it's crossed their mind.
Oh, I'm sure it did, but they didn't do it. Well, so. And that, all this outcry from the liberals made Joe Biden say, absolutely no more horses at the border. Now, come on. You've taken away all of the power from the Border Patrol. And now you want to pick on the horses. I mean, come on. What are we going to do? Put Rin Tin Tin down there and let him patrol the border?
And you'd think, or I do anyway, but I'm kind of twisted in my thoughts sometimes. That go figure. I mean, considering he's the biggest horse's ass in the United States, that he'd be a little more complacent about it.
Look like he'd have a little more compassion, wouldn't he?
Yeah.
But anyway, we're going to talk on this segment about the Border Patrol horses and what that meant. Mark Allen said on YouTube that it is funny that the New York Times has recanted its story on border agents using whips. Mm-hmm. I guess someone educated those Yankee wimps about how horses are ridden and guided. Bobby Lovell said that's the truth, and Susan Sorensen also agreed. Tell a Texan about riding a horse, yeah.
John Underwood says, don't let them know you hit the horses with the reins, or they will jail the Border Patrol riders for animal cruelty. Sabrina Monk Draving said it is ridiculous and is a ploy. And Don Spires said that it was very ridiculous.
Absolutely. Donna Briggs Moss said the media hasn't got a clue. They're stirring up trouble and have no idea what reins are.
Yeah.
Frank Edgar said it is especially annoying that they can't see the agent's hand on the man's shoulder, keeping him from falling down.
Yeah.
Brett Barker let out a sigh and just said, Yankees.
Had to be shaking his head like that when he said that.
Yankees.
Oh, Lord. Jimmy Wallace said some horse riders use long reins to twirl to move the cattle along.
Exactly
Just
what
as
I
you
was saying
said.
all ago.
You know,
Yeah.
I've seen it many times growing
Many
up.
times. Yep.
And I the same can be said for keeping illegals moving back in the direction they came from. Some riders will use shorter reins tied together to loop on the horse's neck.
That's true.
So if you come down to Texas, liberals, at least go to a dude ranch and sit on a horse.
Yeah.
Watch Rowdy Yates reruns or something. You know?
Rawhide.
Rawhide.
Yeah, there you go.
They'll tell you everything you need to know about a horse.
That's exactly right. That's right. So if you can't come to Texas, go to a dude ranch. I love that. Bobby
Dude
Bright
ranch.
said horses are okay to control Americans in New York, but not okay to use against the Democrats' best friends.
Yeah.
Hoss Huggins said exactly.
Yep.
Paul Mason said they only see what they want to see on TV. They don't see the actual thing being done.
That's fact.
That's right.
You know, we're expected to believe what they tell us.
That's
because
true.
we're sheeples. You know, and talking about horses on the streets in New York, I've always thought that was kind of cruel. You know, you've got all these horses in the parks and riding down the streets around all the smog and pollution and crap. That bothers me.
Secondhand smoke.
Yeah, that's a fact. Michael Trey said, hell, the government's not doing anything to stem the flow of illegals into our country, so let Texans and Border Patrol agents do what we do best. We could shut that border down now if we wanted. Maybe Texas should succeed, which I like that thought. Then round up all illegals and send them up north with the liberals. Keep pushing because the American people are about to the breaking point, and then all hell will break loose.
Mm-hmm. That's true. We've been hearing that more and more, too.
Yeah.
And finally, Philip Ray Thompson said horses have been used for years to control lots of things.
Yep.
Using them to stem the tide of illegals trying to come into our country is not a bad thing. I guess the liberals would go off their rockers if the Texas National Guard would have used tanks to keep them from crossing. The Border Patrol agents did nothing wrong, and I applaud their efforts to try and keep this country's well-being and safety at the forefront.
Hear, hear.
Well said.
Yeah, I like
well
that.
said.
Yeah.
Thank you very much
Good
for
points, everybody.
the opinions on that. Right, quickly, let's take a look at some of the viewer comments that we got in this week and let you know about what some of you were saying. Many thanks to our new subscribers to the Grandpa and Pappy Show.
Yeah.
We also picked up new viewers on our Facebook group page.
Yep.
So keep them coming, and we'll tell you how to subscribe here in just a few moments.
Welcome aboard, everybody.
Absolutely.
We're still looking for show topics and your opinions and
Absolutely.
comments. Lewis Jones told us he just watched our show on 9/11. I was in the hospital after an auto accident. Security started locking down the hospital in case of an attack on us there. I watched on TV horrified. I grabbed a bedpan, said, "They come for me. I'll let a little crap hit the pan before I go." Love the show, guys.
That was good.
We love you being on board with us. I like that, Lewis.
That's good. Marcy Williams said, I was looking at your Facebook page and noticed a question posed by Twyla Richards on monoclonal antibodies being made available to Texans.
Yeah.
I think that would be a great show for you guys to do. I'll be watching for it.
Monoclonal antibodies.
Mm-hmm.
Huh.
We had a friend that posted on Facebook last week. He got tested for COVID and was sick and was positive. And they gave him doses of monoclonal antibodies, and he was up and going in 3 days.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And by the way, before it comes up, yes, I'm in Facebook jail again, everybody.
Yes.
But they reduced my sentence this time because
It was stupid.
it was stupid.
It was stupid.
I told you what happened, didn't I?
Oh, yes.
By the way, don't get caught calling your animal a porch monkey.
No.
No. They'll throw you in jail.
Absolutely.
Last but not least, to close out your comments on this week's Grandpa and Pappy show, Albert Rainey told us he watched our show on leaving our weapons to the Taliban. He said someone has to pay for this, which we have already, and now the generals are starting to spill the truth on Sleepy Joe's orders to evacuate without thought. Trust me, the shit is fixing to hit the fan. Couldn't have said it better myself, by
Absolutely.
You misspelled-
Absolutely.
misspelled-
Thanks for the viewer comments,
You
incidentally.
misspelled
We
shit, by
appreciate
the way, amigo.
it. I know, I did. If you'd like to be a part of the Grandpa and Pappy show, it's real simple for you to do. You can send it to our email address right over my shoulder here, grandpaandpappy@gmail.com, or
Or you can hit us up directly on our show website page, which can be found by keying in www.grandpaandpappy.com. That's grandpaandpappy.com, where you'll see a big red button like this one. Push it. Subscribe. Won't cost you a penny, will it?
the only thing you have to do is give them a password only you know, and then
That's right.
click on it, and you're a subscriber to the Grandpa and Pappy show, and you can look at all 180 episodes that we have done so far.
180? Can you believe that?
That's true. Yes, I can. Trust me.
I
Or
kinda
you
feel
can
it
go
too,
to
so-
our Grandpa and Pappy Facebook group page,
Yeah.
where you'll see all the opinions expressed before they hit the airwaves.
Well, that, and along with Twitter and Instagram,
And YouTube.
and YouTube.
We're getting
as
more
well,
and more
yeah.
comments on the YouTube comment section.
And it's all accessible from our website page.
is
So,
that.
you know, you can see what we're all about and just peruse yourself crazy while you're there. We dare you to.
Absolutely. It has been fun, and we appreciate every one of you for joining us on the Grandpa and Pappy Show. And for all you fellow podcasters out there, today is National Podcasters Day. So good luck with your podcast also.
Happy podcast.
We
day,
always end our
everybody.
broadcast by telling you the same thing. Reach out, hug your kids, and let them know you love them.
Let them know that the Grandpa and Pappy Show loves them too, by God, amigo.
Absolutely.
Take care of one another.
It don't cost you anything.
We're all we've got left.
Absolutely. Until we see you again, take care of each other. God bless you. God bless America. Until we see you again, be safe. Bye-bye.
See you soon.